Hey everyone, welcome back, and today I'm at the Old 100 Mine Tour, and we're going to go a quarter-mile down into an old gold mine out here in Silverton, Colorado. So let's go check out the Old 100 Gold Mine Tour. There's the mine shaft. Supposed to do like a spiral motion. And look for something gold and shiny. Nothing there. Try this area. Have any luck yet?
Well, I saw a big piece of yellow something a while ago, but I can't see it anymore.
So that's the mine we're going down into. And we get a ride on these mine carts. And we're a little early, so I thought I'd walk around the property here. See what we got. Oh wow, there's a water rushing out down there. Going all the way down. The valleys. These peaks up there is about 12,000 feet up. We're at about 9,000 now. Here's an old ore car. That is actually, I think, might be an elevator car for the miners to go down into the mine. Look at this old mine car. It's got a GM motor in it. A little spring suspension going on. Got the oil pressure and temperature, amperage. Someone put some rocks on top. And over here, there's like some kind of bridge that once was a bridge. And here's some kind of generator. A cable. That's like a cable motor. That would probably pull the miners in and out of the shaft or the ore carts. I'm not really sure. There's that old bridge that's falling apart. Everybody drives these little Jeep rentals up here. I brought some sweatpants. I'm going to put them on. So just to let you folks know that are coming up here to take the mine, the guy just told me it's 47 degrees inside there. And you're going to be in there about a half an hour. So be prepared. Give you all slickers and hard hats before you go in. Here's an old kind of mine cart machine. You guys rich yet?
I seen a couple of things that looked like, but they were so tiny I couldn't even get them out.
Mm.
Is this gold?
Yeah.
Yay!
I think.
Found one? Good for you.
I think. Yeah, that's that there.
That's a pretty big piece.
I think so. I'm not sure. It's not real shiny though.
Go ask the guy inside. Let's ask
No,
him.
you ask him.
Oh. My daughter may have found a piece.
So how many hundreds of years ago was this place closed up?
In the early 70s, actually.
So that's when
Yeah.
it's taking gold up?
Well, the last crew to come in here, they spent $11 million and didn't realize the geology around here. Copy of receipt, did I get it? And drove this drift and one 700 feet above it, which was a good plan in most places except here because the gold occurs from 11,000 to 14, doesn't really come down any lower than that.
Oh, is that right?
So they spent $11 million on that lesson and didn't really pull out much.
Speaking of gold, is that gold? My daughter found that in the panning.
That is gold.
Awesome.
She found gold.
Yeah.
Oh, Dory, let's go mine gold and then take for a trip.
Sasha, this is indeed gold.
Is it?
Yeah.
Let me see hers.
Very impressed with myself. Wow.
Put it in a separate bag. Could be worth thousands.
See that little flake there? Don't you think that's one?
Maybe like a
I don't know about that. That's yellow. Well, maybe. You look down here. This is the drain for the panning area, and you see all the glitter down there. That's probably gold flakes. Here comes the carload.
That's great.
Did you have fun?
Yeah.
Don't mind it all.
No, it's not that green.
All right, we're about to get on board. Well, I'm getting suited up. They have these rain jackets, these hard hats. Test. Yeah, it works. Want to get in the back?
I will.
Want to do the back?
And those little silver ones, I think, are the laws are silver. And there's the gold.
Wow.
Yeah, this is her retirement right here.
Yeah. For about 2 seconds.
Lot of look on.
Here we go. Suspension.
Otherwise, you can't really nuggets like that. And all you could put just
Here we go, into the mine. Good catch. A little chilly already. There we go, into the mountain. Oh, and it's wet too. Feels good, Janet. Going a quarter-mile into the mountain. Imagine doing this for work every day, Haley. Oh, you gonna get wet here? We're getting rained on. Yeah, we're definitely in this mountain now. It's like the real runaway mine train ride. Just behind us, way down. We're getting towards the end of the journey to come in. Ta-da, we made it. Quarter mile in the mountain. This is pretty cool. We're a quarter mile into the mine shaft. It's nice and cool in here.
Once you step this down, you go on up to the intersection. We'll take the train back outside.
So we just came in a third of the mile. That rock miners entered the mountain at a 2% grade, anticipating hitting
All right.
like this. This mine produces 370 gallons a minute, 24/7. It doesn't slow down. So again, just watch out as it's pulling out.
Watch yourself.
Well, we're stuck here now. Got a whole running river here.
The mine was dry, driving the drift somewhere right to here. The guy on the jack leg produced a hole just like this. Hit that artesian spring under tremendous amounts of pressure. It blew him and the jack leg 1,600 feet out into the sunshine. Somehow he lived, which isn't usually the case, but he did survive that.
So wait, can we explain it one more time? So what happened? He hit a pressure?
So this water is trapped in the mountain under tremendous amounts of pressure. And when we use the jack leg, we're drilling 6 feet into the wall, so we don't know exactly what's on the other side. Again, it was dry all the way up to here. Somewhere in this area, he hit that spring under tremendous amounts of pressure. It blew him and the jack leg 1,600 feet down the portal.
Oh, no, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
How long ago was that drilled?
64, I believe. Yeah, they drove this drip. That breeze you feel coming down this drip was engineered. Anytime you have your workers going miles into these mountains, you have to supply them with air or they're going to suffocate. They did an amazing job. They basically drilled these 6-foot diameter boreholes throughout this mountain. They go thousands of feet in different directions to pull the outside air in. If we were to go up to one of the upper levels, walk a mile back into one of those boreholes, there's a 35-mile-an-hour wind that'll take your hard hat right off your head, a mile in the center of this mountain. So again, they did an amazing job bringing the air to this mine. It's one of the reasons this is a great tour. The air in here is actually better than it is outside because again, we're pulling it above 12,000 feet where there are no dust, no side-by-sides, no Jeeps, no pollution. Just taking notes. So my name's Ken. I have 9 years underground experience. I've mined in California, Nevada, and Colorado. Along this tour, if you guys have any questions about this mine or mining in general, please don't hesitate to ask. I really love the questions. 1890, we had prospectors all over these hills looking for an outcropping of quartz that would contain gold. Most of them don't. I wish it was that easy. But on occasion, they would find one that did. And typically, they claim it. We'll work it for a few years, usually selling it to a larger corporation because it takes a lot of money and infrastructure to get into these mountains and extract the ore. Pretty much what happened, 1890, we had a German prospector, almost at 13,000 feet, come across this vein, and it did indeed have gold. So he claimed it, worked it for about 10 years, and then sold it to a larger corporation. That corporation came in and said, wow, it's really difficult to get our men up and down, and especially get the ore out from 13,000 feet. So the first thing they did was build the tram system, up to almost 12,600 feet, basically. And then the second thing they built was the bunkhouse, the 2-story bunkhouse, which is still in existence today and is right there in front of the 7th level. And then they started working on the 5th level as well. Typically with mines like this, they'll see years of activity, and then maybe metal prices drop, they'll back out of the mine will sit quiet for about 10 years, metal prices go up, they sell the mine to somebody else tries their hand at it. That's pretty much what happens, and it is what happened on this mine as well. In the early 60s, we had Dixieland Corporation come in out of Texas. They were doing so well in the oil fields, they wanted to try their hand at mining. So they came in here. Unfortunately, they didn't talk to anybody about what was going on in terms of the mining around here. And they drove this drift. We just came in at 10,000 feet. and simultaneously drove the second level at 10,700. And when I said, unfortunately, they didn't ask anyone because the gold in the San Juans typically occurs from 11,000 to 14,000 and doesn't go any lower than that. And this mine proved that once again. This drift and the one above us did not produce gold. And that was an $11 million lesson that they learned. But again, if you're looking for gold in the San Juans, 11,000 to 14, really don't waste your time any lower than that.
Why it's higher than that? Like what, do you know what processes in the earth made it so gold is higher than?
Yeah, so this is all volcanic, all the San Juans, and it happened on a geological time scale really, really quickly. My technical term for it is, it's the gold occurred a lot like the fart in the bathtub. It came up on a bubble and is disconnected from the rest of the vein.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that one.
I got you on film doing that.
Pretty good analogy, but so in California it's the opposite. Gold occurs pretty much from 200 feet to about 5,000 feet and stops. Even though there's mountains that go to 14, the gold really isn't up there. And all our mines go down miles and miles and miles, where the mines here go across miles and miles and miles. So there's a drift up above us that goes all the way to Stony Pass, 3.5 miles underground. This particular drift continues another mile straight on. So, any other questions before we move on?
There's many different drifts at different levels up this whole mountain, or?
Yeah, so they say there's 7 levels, but technically that's not exactly correct. There is a 7th level, and this is the first level, but basically the levels on this mountain go 1, 2, 5, and 7. That's because if they would have hit gold, they would have drove drifts in between those, filling in those numbers, but they didn't, so they didn't. Yeah. It's 47 in here. If we were to go up to the 7th level, it's 45 year round, so it's a little bit cooler up there as well. Any other questions for the month? That's Rust-Oleum paint on the wall over there. Gold vein I put in there. All the kids were disappointed there was no gold here. Last year I put 22 pieces of lead that were all melted, painted on gold, and hid them throughout this mine. Every single one of those pieces has been high graded, which is pretty funny.
And they didn't tell you about it?
No, well I hid it everywhere, and then I went looking around
Like
this
it's
year, and I
found,
was
is
like, every single piece is gone.
Found.
No, they were literally high graded. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, a gold fever makes you deaf, evidently, because if you listen, this level and the second level didn't produce gold. So that would have been the first key. I would have loved to see them try to cash that out too. Any other questions? This is actually the vein right here that they were chasing. They drove this drift all the way to here just to get to this vein. This is the vein that pops out at 12,600 feet. Again, the gold doesn't come down this far in the vein, but this is the vein. So,
When you say vein, are you talking about the white part?
yeah, so the quartz brought all the lead, the zinc, the copper, the silver, and the gold. The volcanic rock, the host rock that's here, has nothing of interest in terms of us mining it.
Okay, so when you see quartz, that's where gold is normally?
That's where it could occur,
It
yes.
could occur, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. All right, if you guys want to follow me this way, I'll show you how to get track of I had 40 or 50 people back here talking about the drills, and I looked over, and a kid on that bridge was drinking the water out of this ditch. I never said this before last week, and now I've added it to the tour. You really don't want to drink this water. The miners, we call this the pee ditch. We don't walk out the mine every time we need to go tinkle. So yeah, I've added this to the tour, but you really don't want to drink this water in case anyone was really thinking that, which probably, I'm sure nobody was, but let's just throw that out there and get it out in the open. As a miner, if I showed up for a job out here, 1890s, and wanted a position, this is what they'd give me: single jack and a steel. Every time I hit this, I have to give it a quarter turn or permanently get locked in the rock. If it were to get permanently locked in the rock, I'd go back to the shop steward, he'd issue me another one charging me $2. Well, at that time, I was getting paid $1 for every 12 hours I worked, so I'd be a couple days behind. Definitely didn't want to do that. Very, very slow process. I'd spend all day doing that, maybe get a stick, possibly 2 sticks of dynamite in the wall. So really, really slow. Double jacking, same principle, except there's 2 of us. Half the day, I swing the double jack, the other half spin the steel, and vice versa with my partner. But with the 2 of us, we might get 3 sticks, 5 sticks if we're superhuman. So again, really, really slow process. We knew we had to increase the production of mining. This was the first answer, the column drill or the liner drill. One of the problems is this column. It takes me about half an hour to break this thing down, move it over and set it up again. So pretty time consuming in the setup. But now we're drilling 4 feet instead of a foot or 2. So we're going much further into the mountain. And this probably drills 100 times faster than drilling by hand. The biggest problem with this drill, it produced a tremendous amount of dust. Typically a miner would work this for 3, maybe 5 years before he passed away from silicosis. We now have nicknamed this the Widowmaker because it killed so many miners. I'm gonna run it, we're not gonna make any dust, but we're gonna make lots of noise. Kind of sounds like a machine gun in a tunnel.
Plug your ears.
If you want to take kids around the corner, it's a little bit quieter. It's up to you guys up.
I'm ready.
Alrighty, we're ready.
Ready as all to be. Take you out.
I'm gonna fire this baby up. Yeah, we're good.
Alright, here we go.
That was so
The whole
loud.
mountain's shook. That was all day long, huh?
All day long.
Oh my gosh. Should go deaf.
So that's what we had until the 40s, and they came out with this, the jackleg. The crazy thing about this is still exactly what we use today. I don't know where I think we should be underground, maybe in the 80s or something, but we're still in the 40s and 50s. This came out just in time for World War II, and in my opinion, one of the reasons we did so well in the war. This really put mine production through the roof. No column, so I can move it over in a second. It doesn't take me half an hour every time I move it. That's really good because now my hole pattern is about 32 holes, so I'm moving this quite often. I weigh 135 pounds. This thing's about $1.20, but this is what I run 10 hours a day. And I'm able to do that because this leg is air assisted. I can raise and lower it. I'm not lifting it all day long.
So did you actually ever use a machine like that when you were mining?
No, this is what I use still.
That's what you use
Today.
like, when you. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You gonna turn that one on?
Oh yeah. So the biggest improvement, we hollowed it out, drive water through it, totally eliminating the dust and silicosis, and making the drill function that much better. So yeah, I opened up a mine in California that had been, the entrance had been collapsed for 32 years. It took me 6 days a week for about 8 months to get in there. I finally got in there, and in the ditch, just like this, was a jackleg for over 32 years. I pulled it out, oiled it up, hooked it up to my compressor, and it's still the jackleg I use today. Like these things are amazing.
How much those cost?
3 to 5 grand, depending.
Oh, okay. Thought there was more.
Yeah. All right, you guys ready for this?
Yeah, we're ready.
All right, here we go. Typically, we'll have 2 of these running at the back of the drift, so we don't use our voices for communication. We actually use our headlamps. If this was a functioning mine, we don't hang lights like this. They would be blown to smithereens and very, very quickly. So the only light you have is the one you bring in, and again, that's typically what we'll use for communication.
So it is really dark in mine. That's not just the movies. It is just really dark most of the time.
Yeah, without your light, you cannot see your hand in front of your face. It's as dark gets.
Really, that's crazy.
There's actually a bad trick that miners do to people that they don't like if you're working with a miner, and that is to take a cat underground, because they say cats can see in dark. Well, they can't see in mine dark. It's that dark. And this is a bad thing to do, but this is what some of the things people talk about that goes down underground. You take a cat in a box, take it to the back of the drift, and the first thing it sees is someone coming in with a headlamp. It literally tries to claw its way through that light entrance, which is typically your face. So that's one of the bad mining. If your partner hates you. So around the corner, I actually have a hole pattern set how we time the blast. But any questions on the drills?
Have you ever found like just a gold nugget or anything? Like you found like a big old gold piece or like a big old piece of silver, and you were like, oh yeah.
So silver, native silver is actually more rare than native gold.
Okay.
But yeah, I've found. I've been mining for 9 years underground, so I've found quite a bit of things. The largest nugget I found up to date is 4 ounces.
4 ounces? That's huge, isn't it?
That's pretty big, yeah. I mean, now it's almost $2,000 an ounce, so.
Awesome.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever uncovered?
I work ancient tertiary gravel mine in California, and we get natural diamonds, and those are pretty cool. But nothing too crazy. In the mine, it was started in 1860. There's a whole Chinese section. You can literally get lost in this thing. But the Chinese section, the drifts, instead of being like this or like this, it looks like Yoda dug them for 1.5 miles. And as you go through, there's opium pipes and vials and all kinds of Chinese stuff from the 1800s.
So is that what they just did just to get them through their like afternoon push? They're like, dude, I can't be down here. So they just did, that's kind of what got them through as drugs?
Yeah. And they have these vials that are like, they're little travel vial and stuff. It's pretty interesting.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you ever found anything on a tour?
The what?
Have you found like something really weird, like whenever you're like testing those hammer drilling things? Have you ever found something in a tour?
Not too much. I had a friend working a coal mine, and they got a triceratops skeleton in the rock. So that's pretty cool.
Are there any creatures?
Bats.
Insects or?
No, because it's 47 in here, there's no bats, there's no insects, there's actually a complete void of life. Now, if you go to some of the mines in Nevada, you'll find 4 different species of bats, 3 of which are endangered, and like all kinds of stuff, because they're warmer, and drier.
What is this crystal-like stuff that looks like?
Basically salts leaching out of the mountain.
So the part that's turquoise back here, is that copper?
That is copper leaching out.
Is copper like worth anything like back in the day? They're like, oh, that's cool, there's a lot of copper. Was it kind of like?
Well, yeah, never mind. Everything goes to the mill, and everything gets separated at the mill. So they would separate the copper, the zinc, the lead, the silver, and the gold. But the copper in this mountain wouldn't even pay the electricity bill.
Okay.
Even though they'd be taking it and getting it, it's gonna be very, very minuscule.
So gold is what like they were looking for.
Well, that's the most, yeah. And silver's crazy because the pure silver we can find in these mountains is 30%. The rest is lead. So we have to take it to a mill and separate it. I don't understand why silver is as cheap as it is, honestly. Like as a miner, I can't even dig it out of the mountain. I literally have to take it down to the mill and separate it. So to me, silver should be.
So is there anything else that we don't know about that's valuable about like some of the stuff that you take out? So you have, because we think of copper, silver, and gold. Is there anything else that you think about?
Well, now they're doing all kinds of things for cell phones and things like that. They were to do rare minerals.
But back in the day, it was just those 3?
Mostly, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. We're very committed to staying underground as hard rock miners. This is a prime example. This goes a mile to another claim, and its sole purpose is a haulage tunnel to get the ore out from that mine onto the train and out to the mill. Well, there was already a road in existence that could have easily popped out and used that road. But then in the winter, we'd have to do avalanche mitigation, snow removal, and deal with the harsh temperatures out there. Again, even with a road already in existence, we'll drive a drift a mile just to stay underground before we go on. So again, it's 47 here. If we went to the 7th level, it's 45 degrees. The mine I work in California is 55 degrees. Some of the mines in South Africa are 130 degrees. So it depends on where you are on elevation, but also on the equator as well.
I know, right?
Oh, crystal. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and a box of dynamite was sitting in the water since 1942. The whole wall was sweating nitroglycerin. Probably the most dangerous position I put myself underground. Yeah. But then we got outside and realized the cougar had been tracking us for 4 miles up the road.
Wait, you? This he actually tracked you?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Scared.
I was faster than my friend, so it was pretty. He was gonna get it.
That's all that matters.
Gonna take a slow person with you.
Yeah.
I have a question.
You got a lighter?
How, huh?
Do you have a lighter?
No.
Matches?
No. I have a question. How do you light them without getting blown up in the blast?
Well, they make long wicks so that you can get out before it ignites,
It's
basically.
like in the cartoons.
So we learned really quickly, if I drill a hole, stick a stick of dynamite in it, it makes a big noise, but not much else happens. Maybe I get the rock to crack, but then I'm really in trouble because I drill another hole, and all that energy gets dissipated in those cracks. It becomes very, very difficult to remove the rock. Back in the day, they actually would pack this at the end of their ship. When you blast a room like this, all the oxygen is immediately sucked out of the room. If I walked back in, I'd actually be dead before I hit the ground.
Just because of blast explosion of fire,
It sucks everything out, and then this will off gas as well. So it's kind of a two-edged sword.
Huh.
But it will kill you before you hit the ground. Good news is it's really fast. The bad news is it's really, really fast. So again, now everything I'm drilling is going 6 feet. Back in the day, like I said, they would have packed this at the end of their shift, gone up to the bunkhouse or wherever they're staying, coming back 8 hours later, hoping the air had served. Well, we've learned through the death of miners, if I have a 3-mile drift, I can wait 3 days. I'm still going to walk back at that dead-end drift and be dead before I hit the ground.
Is that why they have the birds?
That's coal mines.
Okay, cool.
Canary into coal mine.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what's that for, really fast?
Because coal mines hit bad gas. So they're
Hit
literally
bad
drilling,
gas.
and then the gas is bad.
Tons of methane.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it wasn't lack of oxygen, it was
Yeah.
the gases that were actually killing them.
Exactly.
And do you not have to worry about that here in these mines normally?
No.
Okay.
The thing, the old mines you have to worry about because the timbers will off gas. But as we're driving drift, the thing we're concerned about is water and rockfall. Those are our two
Okay.
things. So, again, everything I drill is 6 feet. This is my first hole and the only hole. I'll leave blank. And then I'll put a pyramid around that, packing all 6 feet of the pyramid, a box around that, pack the box, pyramid, back to pyramid. Continue that depending on how large they want the heading, but at least 6 by 6 by 6. The most important thing, this goes first. All the energy dissipates out this hole. Again, we're giving it the point of least resistance. That creates a hole about that big. Box goes second. Now we have a significantly larger hole, and we keep imploding until all our material. Last two are the risers. They come here, making sure all our material is on the floor. And again, now we have all our material on the floor. I always feel like I'm teaching a terrorist workshop or something. That's how we blow the bridge up. Now I have all the material on the floor. I need to get it out. Back in the day, it would have taken me a fair amount of time to load up an ore cart with 3,000 to 5,000 pounds of material. Now I have a machine, which I'll drive for you in just a minute, does it in about 3 minutes. So big production.
Are they drilling right now? In this mountain?
Nope,
No,
this mountain is not working.
not working at all.
No functioning mines in San Juan County because there's no mill. Everything has to go to a mill. That's why I mine in California. We walk out with just the gold in our hands and we can sell it. We're not taking hundreds of ore carts down to a mill. So, this next drift we're going to walk through is the smallest thing we'll go through today. That's because it was designed as an emergency exit. If there was a fire, a cave-in, the hoist operator still had a way to get out. He must have been about my height, as you'll see. You might get stuck. The ceiling gets lower and lower and lower, so just watch your heads as we exit. And we have 2 minutes to get out. Just kidding.
She's ready back there.
This is the.
My grandma said I could coal mine and they put windows in.
See those right there? Those are all the bombs that blew up the rock. See how you have this tunnel here? Mine actually came in and lined this with and literally took rocks. You can see the area right here where they hit it with the hand. Look at this.
Claw or something, huh?
The claw.
The claw. And the drinking water.
So that drift continues another mile. Kind of farther than the beginning of it. This goes 700 feet, and it's a lot like a laundry chute, but for ore. Goes 700 feet, and it's still the fastest way for me to get my material from those upper levels is to make a vertical shaft and let gravity do the work. We'd have ore carts underneath that, fill 10 to 15 of them, again send them out to the mills. This piece of equipment, the slusher, would be the top of that 700 feet. There'd be a huge hole dropping down the vertical shaft, and ore carts dumping their material in front of me, and this just simply drags across, making sure none of that material is stuck up on the rim. All right, you guys ready for this one? Here we go. Never had to work this underground, thankfully, because 10 hours a day you just go forward, backward, backward, and that's all you do. But again, very efficient getting that material down. This is my favorite piece of equipment. This is the logging machine. So I just drilled my whole pattern, blasted all my materials on the floor. It would actually be much smaller than this, more like gravel size. Now I need to get it in the ore cart. All right, you guys ready for one more level? Okay, here we go.
Wow. Quiet.
My major concern operating this is if my head's right here,
No Tesla.
if my head's right here, it ends up.
Yes. I think I'll take your head off.
Yeah, just no one has to stick your finger out or anything.
So it's the run of only matters.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can put compressors on every level and they pack and punch to get through the rock. Anytime we're moving things,
So
working
what,
things out of here.
how do you get the, where is the compressor itself?
Here,
Yeah.
around that. As we leave, you look back that
Are
direction.
they diesel or what are they?
Electric.
They're electric. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Any questions on this mine or mining in general? I hope mining in California. All right, once we get out, I'll have you guys hang your hard hats and jackets, and there's a spot you can walk around, and there's a sign that says bunkhouse. You stand right there and look up, and you can see the 7th level and the 2-story bunkhouse, which is still in existence.
Oh, going back out. out we come. And there's the rain cloud. So we're going to look at the, he said around the building you can see the bunkhouse he was talking about. And the bunkhouse is way up there. Hey, that was pretty amazing, that mine tour. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. If you're enjoying what I'm doing, please hit that subscribe button to my channel, and I'll be feeding you more awesome videos just like this one. Thanks for coming along.